So today I am going to take you through how you can fill the observation checklist. Now the observation checklists are in two forms. There is one for the project and then there is the other for the subject. So for this first video, I'm going to take you through how to fill the observation checklist for the project. And then the coming video, I will demonstrate how you can fill the observation checklist for the subject. So this observation checklist, you get it from the from the app, the AMIS, UNEB AMIS app. So you can load it, but remember, you can only print. You cannot use it in soft copy, neither can you edit it. You can just use it the way it is. So you are supposed to make a copy by printing, and you print it for every learner, and then you use it. So imagine I have my AMIS loaded like this. So you go under continuous assessment, the menu continuous assessment, then you click, and then you go for observation checklist, then you click, and then under type you click the drop down arrow and select project, and when you select, automatically it will load it in PDF form using any default PDF that you set on your computer, and is ready to be used. So as I mentioned earlier, you cannot edit it direct from here. You are supposed to print it and be filling it using a pen, and after you compile it for all the learners, and then you will be entering them the scores afterwards in the AMIS. So right now I'm going to demonstrate how you will do it. But maybe before I go further, let me remind you that this checklist, it is advisable that you print and give it to the learners. For example, this is project checklist. You give it to the learner before they start the project, so that they know what will be required while they are being scored. So this is very important. Remember, you give them this such that they don't fall short when they are being scored. So you can print it and give it to every learner, and then as they are working through, they need to also check through. So when you are coming to mark, they will when they do not score to the level, it will now be up to them. At least you gave them what will be required while scoring. So when you get the observation checklist for the project, it will look like this. You have continuous assessment observation checklist for the project, and then there are these details like the center number if your school has one, but if the school does not have, there is CA number which is provided by UNEB, then the year, the learner's name, then the LIN, the learner's ID. This should be with every learner. Now this learner's ID is very important because that's what they use to track the learner's record. Let's say a learner was in school A, and then after a year a learner changes to school B. It will be this learner's ID that will help them track his record from the different schools he has moved through, to put them together from the UNEB side. So that is not our work, but as long as we put the ID, they will be able to track. So these instructions are very important. The first is that the observation checklist contains 4 competencies, and all the 4 must be scored, but you don't score at once. It is from senior 3 up to senior 4, and these competencies are here broken down, the 4. One is project planning, the other one is project implementation, then there is project reporting, and then project dissemination. Now UNEB designed this in such a way that you don't do all at once, because remember, this will be scored and can be submitted timely. So it is designed that you do it within the specified period UNEB has specified. For example, the planning should be in senior 3, term 1 and term 2. That means the scores, when you're entering in AMIS, you need to enter these scores now in term 2. Because if you enter in term 1, they are not yet done. Or you can enter them in bits, it is also okay. After all, whatever you finish, you can enter and save and keep entering like that. But if you do not want to do much work, you can enter them at once in term 2. Then project implementation is from senior 3, term 3 up to senior 4, term 1. Then reporting in Senior 4 Term 2, and dissemination is in Term 2 of Senior 4. So the other instruction is please tick against the indicators the learner has exhibited. That one I will demonstrate later on. And then record the number of indicators observed. I will also demonstrate that. Now if there is nothing, for example this box, I did not tick anything here, you will use NA, not applicable. Then the theme is supposed to be put here. Remember, this will be printed in enough for every learner that you're going to score. So the first phase is project planning. Under project planning, which is the first competence, you are supposed to, there is the first item here, which is identify a project. So the learner identifies a project that reflects the problem that the project intends to solve through 1. Literature review. If there is evidence that the learner reviewed literature, you remember the learner is supposed to compile this. If there is evidence that the learner reviewed literature, you tick this box. Then the second one, should you consult either peers, teachers, or other internal school community within the community. If there is evidence, for example, if there is a problem which is within the school, or the learner got confused in the process of trying to do the project, he may need to consult either peers or teachers or anybody within that might be having that knowledge. So if there is evidence that the learner did that, the learner could be telling you that when I asked this teacher told me that this problem is existing and there is this and this and that. So if there is evidence, you tick this. Then consulting external community. In some cases, the project the learners are doing may be a solution for a problem which is external, not within the school. So it might require the learner to consult these external communities. So if the learner did so, and you can approve that, you can get to know that it was done, then you tick this. Now after ticking all these 3, then you put here 3. If you ticked, the learner did only 2 and you ticked 2, you put here 2. If the learner did only 1, you also put here 1. Then you go to the next step, 1.2, developing a project title. So you look at the title, the learner develop a project title that is related to the theme. If it is related to the theme, you tick this. If it is not, you do not. Has the acceptable number of words. Now the title according to UNEB should be between 7 to 25 words. If it is so, you tick this. And then you count the ticks and put in this box. And then establish the purpose of the project, the goal or aim the project intend to achieve. If it is there, you tick this. The purpose which should reflect the title and the theme. If it is reflecting, you tick this. And then you count the ticks and put in this box. Then here, the objective, are they specific, measurable? You tick accordingly, count the ticks and put in this box. And then you continue until you finish ticking all. There's even this part of integrating other subjects. If how many subjects were integrated, you tick and put here. And then after ticking all of them, whatever is in this box is what you put in the portal. Whatever is in this box is what you put in the portal. So if you, for example, identifying project, it has 3. So you go in the portal and that's what you fill under project. So you go here and then you go to project score and you put these particulars here. And this project planning, I can fill it in term 2, project planning. So you fill identifying project, identifying, you put here what he has got. And then developing this, you put accordingly. So that's what you score here. So simply, that's how we can fill the observation checklist for a project. Please. Now there are things I want to emphasize here. One is that how you're feeling. You remember from the observation checklist, the first one here is identifies. So you go to the observation checklist and check. The first one here is identify a project. So the score for identifying a project is in this box. So that is the one now you come and fill it here. So it is out of 3. So if I put 4, it will not allow me to continue. It will tell me it is between 0 to 3. So then the second one is develop. So when I go back also, the second one here, 1.2, is develop a project title, and is out of 2, what is in this box. So that's what you also decide to put here. The highest should be out of 2. It cannot go beyond 2. And then establish, and so on and so forth. So after you've done this, don't forget to save. Do not forget to save. But there's one thing I want to emphasize. A learner can in the process be transferred, like leave that school and go to another school, you use this. A learner can drop out, you also use according to the knowledge that you have. If you're not sure, probably the learner just left, may be transferred. So you need to find out to be sure. Suspended, deceased, or absent. Now, if you use transferred, this will all be active and you can continue using. If you use dropped, also it will still be active and you can continue using, even when you use suspended and absent. But be careful for the deceased. You only put if the learner is deceased. That means the person is dead. Or else, whenever you use deceased, all this will be frozen. So these marks will never be considered at any point. Now look at this. When you are click deceased, and then I say all this, I can't feel anything here. So only put deceased when you're sure the learner is deceased, or else you are erasing the learner and may not get any more marks. They may not consider the learner anywhere. And then the final thing that I want you to note is that how to submit or when to submit will always be communicated by UNEB. They will send a circular. The UNEB always communicates a circular of when to submit. If the circular, which in most cases we get from the portal, tells you that submit these scores per term, then fill them and submit per term. Whether they are complete or not, submit accordingly. For example, you remember the project planning is supposed to be done in term 1 and term 2. So if you have done only for term 1 and they ask for termly, fill whatever you have got within that term and submit. Then the next term, you don't start afresh. On top of what you filled, you add the ones that you have got, and then submit basing on the circular, and then keep adding like that and like that. So that's how you can use the observation checklist and also fill it in the AMIS. If you have any question, let me know in the comment section. Please, if you like this video, subscribe because there's one coming for subject checklist. Thank you for watching.